Alert Chopper right now, where a social Let's give you a live look of First Alert Chopper right now, where a social media star is drawing a massive crowd to downtown Atlanta. You can see that there are hundreds, possibly thousands gathering right now for Streamer University. That's an event that's hosted by online personality Kai Cenat.
The event today comes after a cancellation yesterday on Hank Aaron Drive in Summerhill due to the large crowds and even some arrests. Atlanta News First Sarah Hammond is live at State Farm Arena. Sarah, what are you seeing on the ground there?
Well, it's been pretty chaotic here since we got here at about 10 o'clock this morning. First, traffic was completely blocking this road. Police finally had to shut the road down because there just the sheer amount of people trying to get into this event. We heard from a security guard there was maybe some sort of fight that happened within the crowd. Just a lot going on here as people are waiting to get inside of State Farm Arena. As internet personality Kai Cenat, he's hosting this event. He has posted on social media asking people to get in an orderly line or the city will shut all of this down.
This was the crowd to get into an event that Cenat had advertised on his social media platforms. The event was for what he calls Streamer University. It's a creator boot camp for aspiring content creators, streamers, wannabe streamers. They gathered in Atlanta hoping to audition for it. This was the line when Kai Cenat announced that there was going to be a Streamer University event happening today. You saw Atlanta police on the scene, security, trying to you see them in the top right of your screen there. Just a big response. And now we have word, this is breaking news from State Farm Arena. The event has been stopped. This is according to a Chief Communications Officer with State Farm Arena sending us this statement just moments ago saying, quote, due to the overwhelming number of people attending today's Kai Cenat Streaming University audition and subsequent safety concerns, auditions have been stopped and those outside of State Farm Arena have been asked to remove themselves from the line.
What's going on, everybody? Gaming Diva here, and we are back home in the safety of sweet old Dallas, Texas. Streamer University Atlanta in-person auditions. Let's talk about it. So before we get off into the good and the bad and the ugly of all of this, I just want to preface this by saying to Kai Cenat and his team, thank you so very much for giving us streamers and creators an opportunity to come together to collab and network whilst, attempting to shoot our shot and basically market ourselves as to why we should be at Streamer University 2026. So let me just say that, okay? Thank you guys so very much, especially from me being a smaller creator. I appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Me and a few other folks, we made the best out of. We turned lemons into we took lemons and we made lemonade, basically, right? So when I was at the airport coming home, I'm not gonna lie, a lot of people were pissed off. A lot of people was pissed off. A lot of people were crying. A lot of people got hurt. A lot of people got so many emotions, and rightfully so, because at the end of the day, we're all human, okay? So with that being said, I got to the airport and I started to write down key bullet points to make sure that I didn't miss anything, and I wanted to be very concise and fair, okay? But also too, to let you guys know, this is also what I've seen while I was out there since Monday, as well as the experience. So good, bad, ugly, all across the board. All right. So I just want to start off and say all of that. So that being said, the good. I got a chance to network with some of the best creators in making content, and now I have like new creators that I've never met before, and I was able to network with them. And, we made some content while we were there in Atlanta waiting for Kai to set up the new date. And, how like when you travel from different places to places, like how I'm stationed here in Texas and Dallas, I was like, hey, whenever you're in Dallas, hit me up and we can do something, and vice versa. So I made a connections with somebody that's in Japan. I have somebody locally in Atlanta now. And, just for thinking about the future, whether it be like for another, like AMP event or Kai Cenat event, or if we just want to hook up and do something together, then we can do that. So that was one of the positives. Next bullet point, like I said, I got in Monday because the original date that Kai posted was for Tuesday. So once I got there, I took my Uber to one of the campsites, people was camping out at. And as soon as I got there, for the most part, until, the bad element showed up, um, it was a great sense of community. And while we were all there networking, collaborating, with, other creators that might be in your same niche, or, uh, maybe like I said, creators that you never met before, you never heard of before, we were just all kind of giving each other advice, teaching others, teaching each other tools and resources to enhance and grow and create while you're building your brand and community as well as you build your platform. So, prime example with that, I met this young man who goes by Don Comedy. He makes short form content. He's also a clipper, editor, you name it. So, pretty much, me and him connected, because I do long form content and he's trying to do long form. So I was giving him tips and advice on how, he can translate his short form into longer form content. So that right there was gold. Because, I used to have a TikTok. I deactivated it some eons ago, back when DJ was like maybe 2 or 3 years old, and I forgot to reinstate it. So that TikTok account that I had with almost 1,000+ followers gone. So I had to start from fresh. And since I had been gone, TikTok has updated and is doing a whole different bunch of things on their platform. So I was hitting up Don to ask him, I'm like, okay, so I've been gone this long. So, they changed the way tags work and things of that nature. So with that being said, next bullet point. I kind of already said this in the first bullet point, but I got a chance to meet a bunch of new creators and even the ones I never heard of before. So that was a plus. And next bullet point, I learned a lot of things from a lot of these creators, whether they were big creators, medium, baby, just starting out, brand new. Like, depending on which category I say that you put yourself in, there's nothing wrong from learning from each other, regardless of the level of entry that you are in. So, going back to the second to the top bullet point, I had already basically said, I learned from some creators how to make short form content because I make long form. Learn how to do like the art of clipping and tagging appropriate for your videos. And so while this young man and multiple people that make short form content was teaching me how to work Instagram properly, TikTok properly, and whatever other platforms that you might use for short form, basically they were trying to get off into desktop streaming. So I was telling them, I'm like, hey, if you're trying to get off into desktop streaming, starting out, I suggest using Streamlabs OBS, because with Streamlabs OBS, all you got to do is press this, and the little tag, it'll tell you what that plug-in or that button is for. And so I told them, I'm like, either that or look out there with other streaming softwares that are out there, test and play around with it, and whichever one you feel comfortable with, go for it. Do that and just start streaming, go live, do your thing in the area of your expertise, is what I was telling them. Because it's crazy. It's crazy how, for me, that make long form content, short form is kind of not my area of expertise. It's harder for me to make short form content and for them, it's harder for them to make long form content. You know, it's funny and crazy at the same time. But anyway, last bullet point of the good. Overall, this experience felt like a mini creators boot camp, mixer, like an interim entrance point of Streamer University. Like we were the freshman class slash or the orientation class, basically trying to get in to Kai Cenat's Streamer University. And let me explain what I mean by that, right? So although there are a lot of people that are pissed that didn't get a chance to go in to market themselves and brand themselves and present themselves to shoot their shot in front of Kai Cenat's team as well as and or Kai, if they made it past, I guess, whatever screenings that they had before you even get to Kai, which is understandable, right? Because nobody's time wants to be wasted, and I get it. But also at the same token, what the creators that missed out on this opportunity of networking with the other creators that was inside our realm of, hey, you know, what we were doing outside waiting for Kai or waiting for Kai to give us the new date of where the new location was going to be. This was literally a mini Streamer University. It really was. If y'all think about it, because even beforehand there was like a lot of people making content doing it the right way, but then there was also a lot of people making content trying to get the clips and antagonizing the police doing it the wrong way, which overall messed up for everybody out there. But we're gonna get to that. So pretty much what I have to say here on this last bullet point, if y'all didn't take advantage of the opportunity to network and collaborate and get information from the other creators that was out there, whether they are in the same niche as you or not, or whether maybe y'all might have an idea to try to blend your niches together to make content, y'all missed out on an opportunity. I mean, I get it. Everybody wanted to go and was folks hyper focused on, wanting to market and brand themselves and shoot their shot to get into Streamer U in front of Kai's team or in front of Kai. But if you did not network with the people that you were huddled up with for the past week, past couple of days, see me, I got out there on Monday, so I wasn't out there like a full week like some of my other fellow creators. Kudos to them for holding down the line at the original location before things had to change, unfortunately. So shout outs to them. And I hope and pray that those people that had been camped out there for a whole week, I hope they were the lucky ones that got inside. All right. So on top of that last bullet point, the very, very last bullet point in the good, I got an opportunity to make some new friends, made new connections for future events in key states. Like I have a connection in Japan now. I have a connection in New York now. I have a connection in Atlanta. I have a connection in North Carolina now. And so, you got to look at it from the standpoint of not just, oh, I'm here to see Kai. Yes, I know that was the goal. That was the whole goal, people. People spent hundreds of thousands of dollars just to be there, just to be able to, with hopes to get inside and to market themselves. I get it. But if y'all did not do what I said previously, you missed out on a really good opportunity. Now, to address the ugly. And disclaimer, I apologize, but this is my real raw truth and emotion. And compared to that last Twitch stream that I did, I was very upset. Y'all could see that on my face. I was upset because I was so close to the door. My group was literally going to be the next group to get in, but unfortunately, things got shut down. Now to address the ugly of it. The ugly of it is there was a bunch of non-creators there who were just fans of Kai, who are in the line taking up space. Now, I know what y'all gonna say. Well, that's a mean thing to say, Diva. And I'm like, is it though? Because you don't create content. You never stream. They never made a single piece of content in your life. You are a fan of Kai Cenat, AMP, whatever. And I get it. Y'all wanted to meet Kai. I get it. But that was not a meet and greet. That was not the time or place to come in with the other creators to hold up space. All right. Now, to address the young niggas, the bitch niggas, the old niggas, and just niggas. Y'all literally caused so much chaos days prior to the original location happening that the police was already over us. And y'all know that whole expression and saying, you know, one bad apple spoils the whole bunch. And like I said, there was a lot of us out there who were obeying law enforcement. We were complying with security. We was complying with the traffic laws. But if you fall in any one of these categories that I just mentioned, YNs, BNs, ONs, and just Ns, y'all fucked it up for yourselves and everybody else around you. And there's a lot of bullet points here. So this group of people that was doing some dumb shit, y'all are the grunt and the brunt of my anger right now, in my frustration. Because y'all was doing too much. Y'all single-handedly sabotaged and ultimately got the event shut down. So, let me start with what I saw on Monday when I arrived to one of the two campout line sites. So, earlier in the day, everything was good, everything was great, everything was Gucci. I was setting up my chair, I was setting up my tent, and then, you know, as the day progressed, it started to get mad. It started to get mad like the YNs just came in and took over. So there was trash everywhere. People, grown ass people, men, women, you wasn't cleaning up after yourselves. You wasn't complying with the Atlanta police. You were obstructing the sidewalks in multiple businesses, disturbing the flow of traffic, disrupting businesses, and all around just doing too much, doing a whole bunch of dumb shit. Y'all was climbing on top of businesses, y'all was popping fireworks in front of the police, y'all was hopping on top of the fucking cop cars, and basically trying to be hard and taunting to the police just for clips and clout. That shit was ridiculous. We got enough shit going on out here in the world with police in certain states. You just never know what type of police officer you're going to get. Every single police officer isn't created equal. There's some good cops and there's a lot of bad cops out here. You don't know which type of cop you're going to get. You don't know what type of mood that cop is going to be in. And it showed. Y'all was unnecessarily arguing with the police. All of that. Okay. Now, let's talk about the line. The day, the actual day. Well, before we get to that, prior to all of this, also too, during daytime hours, nighttime hours, the YNs, BNs, ONs, and just Ns, y'all just didn't care. Y'all just did not care. It was so many police officers out there during the day, during the night, and because of all of that chaos, obviously, like I said, a few bad apples spoils the whole bunch. So by this point, you know, then Kai had came in and made a note saying, hey, the old location, which that he posted for originally Atlanta, was no longer the location. So apparently Kai made made an Instagram story basically saying that several venues had pulled out due to the unsuspecting capacity. So due to, and I guess they probably had either the police or the people that own the building that we were supposed to originally be in at the first location had pulled out due to logistical reasonings. They wasn't expecting hundreds of thousands of people to be out there for this event, all while the FIFA World Cups is going on. Because in key cities, key states, just like right here in Dallas, Texas, or Arlington, we got the FIFA World Cups going on down here too as well. So there was a lot of stuff going on, a lot of different events happening at the same time while thousands of streamers is coming in. So I'm quite sure, the Atlanta Police Department was very stretched, very thin, because obviously they're going to take priority where the money is, and that is, y'all guessed it, the FIFA World Cup. But we're going to get to the cops in a minute. So yeah, like I was saying, so Kai made a tweet. Now, mind you, I was supposed to go home, so it got canceled. It got shut down on, the same day I got there, Monday. Tuesday was supposed to be the actual event. So me and a handful of other people, it was raining that day too. It was raining all day today. I put on my poncho, I went back to the original location, and then I started to, really network and help some of the, younger folks there with their skits and, their TikToks or whatever. So we're just kind of, and it was only a handful of us, like literally maybe 5 or 10 of us. And we were just waiting to see if maybe that was a way of Kai saying, trying to just get people away from that block. But ultimately, the day before, the police was like, y'all gotta clean this up, get off the sidewalks. And me, I wasn't on the sidewalk. I was further up because I was trying to build my tent, because the event was literally supposed to be the next day. So after everybody cleaned up, or it took them a while to clean up, then the officers came back and cleared everybody out of the area. They said, y'all can't be here. This is city property. And then one of the YNs had the audacity to argue with a cop. And I'm sitting here looking, and he was like, so we just cleaned up for nothing. And I looked at him and I said, no, you didn't just clean up for nothing. One, he is right. This is city property, but it should have been kept clean to begin with. And I'm going to tell y'all, right here, right now, if y'all would have came in and act like y'all had some type of sense, some type of decorum, some type of home fucking training, they would not have kicked us out of any of those spots. Because when I got there, the police was already there at one of the 2 camp out spots, right? They were already there. They had been there for hours prior to me showing up on Monday. And then while I was setting up my tent, they were just right there chilling with us. They didn't say anything to us. It wasn't until you YNs, BNs, ONs, and just Ns came in and started doing too much. Hopping off the top of McDonald's. Oh my God. It wasn't until y'all started acting stupid is when, and I'm sitting here watching the things around me. I'm watching it. And with me being an older, mature adult and content creator, I saw the writing on the wall. Because also, too, I've run events, anime conventions, gaming rooms. So I knew exactly what the fuck was going to happen before it happened. But because I didn't want to put that negativity out there in the air, I was just praying the whole time, like, please, God, please, God, please. But nope. Cops was like, y'all gotta go. So this became an ongoing thing from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, leading up to when Kai finally dropped the new announcement. So anyway, Kai was like, so I was supposed to come back home Wednesday. I went back to the hotel room feeling defeated a little bit, because like I said, I'm human. We still, like, even though I went out there and still networked and collaborated and got a whole bunch of new contacts, made friends, and treated that little mini camp out mixer slash, you know, freshman class orientation. I treated that as literally a practice for if I did get off into Streamer University 2026. But still, like, to have that announced, be like, hey, that's not the location no more. And then even, because see, a lot of us was thinking that Kai was probably going to have to postpone the event until the following week. Me, I didn't have the funds nor the resources to be out there for the rest of that week. So what I was going to do, I was going to go home, and then if he did announce a new date for the following week, I was just going to have to take a Greyhound bus back out to Atlanta. But I digress. I go back to the hotel room, I go to sleep, and I'm constantly waking up every hour on an hour. And I was tired. I was tired. A lot of us were. Um, I woke up at 7:30, and the connections that I made with people like Don Comedy, um, someone's Poppy, who looked like a skinny version of Drewski if he have shades on. You know, the other young lady that I met, her name eludes me right now, so forgive me. Um, all of them are hitting me up because prior to us all going our separate ways, we had already came together to formulate a plan, which was if Kai had announced whatever, we was all going to get together and crash at somebody's house, and then we were just all going to roll out together. But by this time, I'm tired. I'm like, I'm gonna just head back to my hotel. I offered, I'm like, hey, do anybody need to come back to the hotel, wash themselves off, whatever. Because like I said, there have been some people literally in that line for a whole week just waiting for the opportunity to shoot their shot and, and also have their moment, get their clip with Kai or the team. You see what I'm saying? Regardless whether it been the team or Kai, it's still content. So, um, I'm dozing on and off, and then I'm seeing my phone was mad. Like I have mad messages from Instagram. They were like, and then when I looked, I saw on Kai's story, he was like, new location will be dropped tomorrow at 9 a.m. And I was like, oh my God. So I sent my mom the picture screenshot of what Kai posted, and she came through and was like, my mom literally bought me an extra day at my hotel, and she also bought me a new flight. All right. Later that day, I went to the Streamer U cookout meet and greet type situation that was set up by Senna, Extra Emily, and Bonnie. Granted, that cookout had been going on for like a few hours, and I got the I got whiff of it way later because like I said, I went back to the hotel, went to sleep. I was tired. And I get there. By the time I get there, I worked with a few folks, got a chance to holler at Senna, got a chance to holler at Extra Emily, and a few other creators that were there. You know, gave them my business cards. We swapped information, things of that nature. So that was another good, great opportunity to network, collaborate, make contacts, make new friends, and make the best out of what at the time looked like a very bleak situation until Kai Cenat dropped the new date as well as what would have been the new location. But because they didn't want it to be overcrowded or people camping out, Kai didn't drop the location until 9 o'clock in the morning. So police show up, cleared everybody out. I catch my Uber back to the hotel, which was like less than a mile away. And I'm not from Atlanta, so I didn't know where this park was. I'm like, oh, this is right around the corner from my hotel room. Cool. I mean, my hotel that I was staying at. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, it probably would have took me maybe 30 minutes to get there walking, but driving, it was literally less than 5 minutes away. So, anywho, I get to the hotel room, you know, I'm going over, you know, what I'm going to say to Kai's team and things of that nature, because I had already had a plan. Wake up hella early, eat a big ass breakfast, because just observing from what I've seen from the New York editions and the LA editions, I already knew what I was going to get myself into. And then I also knew that there was a high possibility that the event was going to get shut down, which it did. But we're going to get to that. So, when we are now Wednesday. Wake up, eat breakfast, get dressed. I did my stream, and then took my Uber to the location. There was already people there. I literally got to the line 20 minutes, give or take, after Kai announced the new location. Now, I wasn't surprised that people did some Nancy Drew, Scooby-Doo detective work to figure out before his announcement where this was going to be at, because it, you know, like, people that are local there already, they already kind of have an idea where all, like, the college campuses were, like, the bigger convention, like, area complexes are. So, in prime example, one of the guys that I connected with, and I was kind of hanging out with, like, a more mature group of people, him, Don, baby girl, they were already there. I was the only one that was lagging behind, give or take 20 or 30 minutes. So I wasn't surprised at all to see the fact and know the fact that it was already a few hundred people there. But I was okay with that, because I was just like, all right, these couple few hundred waves of people, they're going to get in, and then it would have been my group. So as soon as I hopped out of my Uber and I was walking towards the line, the ATL police had made a human chain barricade off at 4 different checkpoints. And come to find out why, I guess maybe some of the more celebrity streamer guests were showing up. Soldier Boy had showed up. Dave Migo was there. Mike, Funny Mike, and all of them were there. It was just so much going on. And come to find out, the people who were originally in the line, was in the front of the line, got out of the line. And they had started skipping over the barricade, breaking the barricade, pushing. I had somebody tell me, and I don't know if this is true or not, but I had people come and tell me that at least 4, 5, 6+ people, and probably more than that, ended up falling, and they got trampled. So the police, they were trying to settle that down and get the people that got hurt up out of there. And it had to have been true, because not too long after that, a bunch of police, like 30 to 50 or so police, come walking up from where we were holed off at one of the checkpoints. It was about 50 or so police walk right past us. Ambulances is coming up, and I'm seeing people getting carried and taken away to the ambulances. All that happened. So they had to get people that got hurt and things of that nature up out of there. But essentially what I heard was people was fighting, pushing, people falling, getting trampled, people were passing out in line, which is, it was hot. It was already hot. So imagine being tight, huddled up with like a whole bunch of other bodies there, like 300, 400, 500 people was already there. And yeah. So once all that got calmed down, the police told us that was on this side of the line that was trying to get to the main line, told us to calmly walk down the street in a line. So we get to the line. I'm seeing a bunch of the more high profile content creators, streamers, whatever. I saw No Neck. I saw, at the time, I didn't know that was Tota. I saw Tota. I saw Deshay. I saw Soldier Boy. I saw Funny Mike. And I didn't lose focus. I'm like, no, forget all of that. I'm getting in this line. Okay, I have to get in line. There's already 300, 400 people already in line. And once those first couple of hundred people got inside, I already knew that my group was going to be the next ones getting in. So for me, even though like there was a bunch of people, and like that's where it kind of got crazy, because I think once I got there and I saw that there really wasn't a line, and I'm looking at the police like, why aren't y'all guiding the line? Why aren't y'all, you know, directing the flow of traffic? It's like the ATL Police Department wanted this event to fail because they were already tired of our shit because of what the YNs, ONs, BNs, and just Ns pulled over the course of the week. They were ready for us to go home. They didn't care anymore. They really the fuck didn't. And there was a couple of police officers that either they didn't say anything to you at all. Like there was one officer that I tried to ask just a general question. I was like, hey officer, and they're just looking at you, they're ignoring you. And I'm just like, oh, okay. Just wanted to ask you a question. So once I saw what type of timing some of those cops were on, I just stayed back and I was just waiting patiently and waiting instruction. But yeah. So anyway, my whole thought is I'm gonna get into this line. These bigger creators, they're already gonna be inside. They're gonna get inside anyway, because a lot of them are already inside of Kai's circle. Either he created content with him before, or he's their friends, whatever. So I'm like, all right, keeping my eye on the prize. I gotta get in line. Once I get closer, I'm like, where does the line start? It was so many people packed. You didn't know where the line had started. At one point, the police was like, oh, the line starts over here. No, this ain't the line. The line starts over here. It was so much misinformation. It was crazy. So once you did get up to where you were supposed to be, it was no guidance at all. It was no flow of traffic. It was nobody really out there that really cared to tell us like, hey, this is the line. You guys need to line up and form a line here. Okay? They wasn't helping with that. Granted, like I said, it was over 40 to 50 police officers out there, and they were just standing around in front of, I guess, the door that we were all supposed to go through. But I'm just like, how the fuck are we supposed to know where is the line? You know what I'm saying? Because I wasn't trying to skip nobody, and I didn't want nobody skipping me. So it's just like, I'm trying to figure out where the line is. Forget the bigger creators. I'll see them inside, and I'll chop it up with them when I see them. I'm trying to get in line. But 30 minutes into an hour into the line. Now, mind you, the event starts at 1 p.m. By the time I get in line, it's probably about 10 o'clock, 10:30 once they started letting more people get into the line. So from that point, grown ass men, and when I tell you grown ass men, I mean that. Grown ass, big ass, broly men started jumping the barricade, started trolling, rage baiting. A lot of us women that were in the line, motherfuckers was throwing things at us. People started fighting, started shooting and started pushing and shoving. And then at one point, when I was like close to the front, I got shifted all the way back to the back again. And the reason why, the people that was in the front, that was closer to the door, somebody yelled out, he's got a gun, he's got a gun. So everybody that was in the front of the line, that I guess who saw the person that allegedly had pulled out a gun, was running back into us. So we are getting pushed all the way back. The people that was mid, we got pushed all the way back to the back of the line again. I got shifted so many different times. It was fucking ridiculous. It really was. So thanks to me and my basketball skills, the only reason why I didn't fall and get trampled was because I was literally boxing. I literally had to box people out just to keep from falling into getting hurt. Granted, I did twist my leg the wrong way, so my knee got busted, which we gonna get to that when we get to the police part. So by this time, The line starts moving, the line starts moving, the line starts moving. More grown people are coming in from the side, jumping the barricade, and getting in front of people that have been waiting there for like 6-7 hours. Mind you, there was people that was there way before Kai had even announced the new location. There was already 300, 400 people there. I probably might have been 500, 600 group, right? By the time I get closer and closer to the front, and I'm like, oh my God, that's the door. Because you can literally see where it says gate 2. Gate 2 was like the door that we had to go through. Anyway, grown ass men jumping the barricade. Me as a woman, and it was already a handful of women that was in that line. And some of them had their, boyfriends, fiancés, husbands were with them. You had niggas in the line turning around, messing with the women and skipping us. We're already short. You know what I'm saying? And I think the crowd of men that I was around, see, my husband, he stayed behind because he had an interview. If my husband was there with me, I could just imagine what would have happened if my husband was with me. And then, or two, my husband probably would have been like, nah, let's get out of this line before I end up hurting somebody in GTA. So there was a dude that hopped right in front of me. A bunch of people hopped right in front of us, literally skipped. And we had been waiting in line for 6-7 hours. Me, I had been in that line for at least six, for sure. I was holding it down. I was POP holding it down. And the police were shouting something, and I really couldn't hear what the police were saying. But then I asked the people that was ahead of me, I was like, what are the police saying? And they were like, I don't know, we can't hear them either. So I'm like, all right, cool. So by the time, I confronted one of the guys. I'm like, look, dude, I'm like, y'all gonna have to take your ass to the back of the line. And what I did, when they hopped the barricade, I was one of the bold few that I got right in front of their asses. I'm like, you're not about to skip me. You wasn't in line for like 4, 5, 6 hours. You're not about to skip. Take your asses back there. And then something else happened. A bunch of YNs right in the middle started fighting. And then I'm looking at everybody in line. I'm like, yo, we need to be the ones to do something about this, to keep people from skipping, because obviously the police wasn't doing their jobs. They didn't care at that point. They wanted the event to get shut down. And then I was like, get them out. So the YNs that started fighting, we all just started chanting, get them out. And then some of the police who were actually doing their jobs came through the front to get the 2 troublemakers out. I think they got arrested, and then they got the fuck up out of there. And then I'm telling people around me, I'm like, yo, don't let nobody get in front of y'all. We have been standing here waiting patiently, waiting for the line to go through. We not doing anything crazy. I said, please don't let nobody skip y'all. I'm like, at this point, I don't care who you are. You can motherfucking be DDG. I wasn't about to let DDG get in front of me if DDG was there. No disrespect to you, DDG. I'm just using you as an example. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I would have saw a bigger creator hop in front of me, I wasn't going to let that shit slide. I wasn't going to let it pass. Which, we're going to get to that as well later. Because that was another big frustration. Like, okay, we get it. You're a bigger creator. You are already in Kai Cenat circle, or you have already made content with either Kai, AMP, Clover Boys. You're already in that network circle, right? That was another thing that pissed a lot of people off. That pissed me off too. Now, shout out to Tota, because Tota was in that line with us before he ultimately figured out another way in. Tota did it the right way. He didn't skip. He was actually in line with us, thugging it out for a little bit, and then ultimately he got out of line and he went and took like a back door. So shout outs to Tota, because you didn't skip. You didn't act like you were better than anybody. You just, yeah. Kai, I love you, bro. I appreciate what you did for us, but I'm gonna get to that. So anyway, overall, by the time I got to the front again for like the second or third time, because I kept getting shifted every time they started fighting, every time they started shoving and pushing, I ended up in the middle, in the back, back to the middle, back to the front, back to the middle, back to the front. This happened, and all of this happened before 1 p.m., before the event, before they even started really opening the doors and letting people in. So my hopes and prayers is the group that I was with that was there early, I hope and pray that they got in. I hope and pray that y'all killed y'all audition, whether it been for the Kai Cenat's team or Kai himself. I hope y'all fucking get in. All the people that was there, that was listening, I hope every single one of y'all get in. You feel me? Or the mass majority of us that was in that group that I met. I hope you guys truly get in. I really do mean that from my heart. But when I got to the front, now I can hear the police. The police is yelling, saying, "The event is over. It's shut down." Now, mind you, when they said this, it's 2 o'clock. It's 2 p.m. I go and I check Kai's X. I check his Instagram story. It was nothing officially posted from Kai. So, of course, generally nobody moved because we're waiting on confirmation from Kai. And also, we didn't know if that was like a ploy for the police just to get us to clear out that area, because they were, like I said, they were tired of our shit. From dealing with the YNs, ONs, BNs, and just ends for that whole week prior to the actual event happening, they were ready for all of us to go home. They didn't care. Okay? And it was very evident. It was very evident. So I'm still in line. I get closer to the line because there was a lot of people leaving out. And then the people that skipped, they ended up coming back out too. And I was like, yeah, take your asses to the back of the line. And then somebody turned around and looked at me, and I was like, I said exactly what the fuck I said. Y'all skipped. Like I told you, I don't care if you a big streamer, medium streamer, small streamer, a person that wanted to meet Kai. If you skipped and you was not in that line with us thugging it out to go in the right way, I don't care who you were. That was not okay. That was not cool. That was not right. I don't care. And if you bigger creators, if y'all did that shit to us, fuck y'all too. And I mean that from the soul and the depths of my heart. Because that was not okay. That was not cool. And also too, on top of that, with the bigger creators going through the main line with us or cutting through us just to get through that door, that is what caused a lot of ruckus and disturbance too. So, but like I said, criticisms for Kai, that's going to be at the end, and not really Kai. It's more so whoever Kai had hired to help coordinate that event. That criticism is more so for his team, and yeah, his team and for Kai. This is constructive criticism, okay? The same way how you do music reviews and you give your honest opinion, your honest feedback. This is me giving my honest opinion, my honest feedback from somebody who have event planned for over 10 plus years doing events. That's on a bigger scale than that. So, overall, ultimately, ONs, YNs, BNs, and Ns, ultimately, y'all gotta shut down. So you messed it up for yourselves. You messed it up for everybody around you. Congratulations. You played yourself. And the other thing I'm going to say, the people that did get in that skipped, I hope and pray to God that Kai's team and Kai himself denies y'all from getting into Streamer University. I hope and pray in my heart's desire that God will put into Kai's spirit, God will put into Kai's team spirit to deny all you motherfuckers that skipped everybody in that line that had been waiting there for 6-7 hours plus just to get inside. Like I said, that's not right. It wasn't fair. people such as myself who are following the rules and regulations and listening to law enforcement, we have been in that line waiting for hours to get in. So, fuck everybody that skipped, ultimately. Now, the bad. Speaking on what I personally observed by some of ATL's police department. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying it wasn't all of ATL's police department, because there was actually some really good officers who were actually out there doing their jobs, which is to protect and serve. Not just property. You are there to protect and serve the people. We were not protected. We were not served. And I'm going to tell y'all why. I'm just going to go by the bullet points, and then I'm going to give y'all the scenarios and situations, and I'm going to show y'all the video. Some of you officers were overly aggressive in abusing your power. Tuesday, I'm coming out of Jersey Mike. Now, granted, I'm coming out of Jersey Mike. I don't know what happened. They were clearing people out. All I see is some white cop that everybody has started calling Stuart Little. And he was telling people to clear out and move out. Now, to be fair, he was the only cop on the scene at the time, with 100 or so streamers, content creators with cameras all in the face, trying to get the clip, trying to capture the moment. And I'm far back, but there was a situation where God told me to move. There was a young man who was literally about to get arrested. And in this situation, he was listening to the cop, but I don't know what the cop and him were saying. They were talking to each other back to back. Now, there are some cops out there that do this tactic where they'll keep antagonizing you just so you can say some stupid shit so they can have a just cause to arrest you. I was on the opposite side of the street. The young man who he told to walk and keep moving, he was walking, and it wasn't no type of him stutter stepping or him trying to buck up to the cop. He was actually complying with the cop. But then it got to a point to where the cop pushed him. And then that's when the young man turned into a YN. He turned around. He's like, "Why are you pushing me? I'm walking." So by this point, I'm getting closer and I can read his lips. So I get closer and he was like, "I'm walking, bro. Like, stop." He's like, "Stop pushing me." Now, mind you, there's a bunch of content creators around, streaming, recording, blogging. We're all capturing this on camera. I was live when this happened. And I don't know, I'll have to go back and check my Twitch, but you can hear me in the thing that says, "Come on, let's get up out of here. Let's clear out." I'm trying to tell all the younger people there, I'm like, let's clear out, let's comply, so we don't get arrested and so this event don't get shut down. So out of the people that actually did get arrested, he didn't get arrested because I saved him. So I literally grabbed him. I'm like, "Come on, baby, let's." And I looked at him. I literally I'm like, "I know you're upset because he pushed you. He was abusing force and trying to get you." Because at one point, he said something to him, and then the officer grabbed his arm like he wanted to put his arm behind his back and arrest him. He was about to get arrested. And so then that's when I ran up and I literally grabbed him from the cop. I'm like, come over here. And I told him, I said, "Let's not get arrested here. We're here for a reason. We're here for a purpose. Don't mess this up for yourself and for other people." And he was like, "Yes, ma'am." So he listened. Meanwhile, after I saved him, I took my ass right back across the street because I didn't want to be in that crowd that was trying to get the clip, that was trying to get anything, because like I know how cops are. I know how cops can be, especially when you're young and you're black, or when you black, period. I didn't want to deal with that. But a lot of these young folks, they just think they're invisible. They think they have 900 lives, and that was just sad to see. But as I'm walking back up towards Publix, I'm hearing the officer that they were calling Stuart Little, because everybody started calling him Stuart Little. And I guess he got really frustrated. Meanwhile, There's 20, 30, 40 cops show up. And he was like, y'all need to clear out now. Clear out now. Now, mind you, I had just got through getting something to eat. I saved a young man from getting arrested. I'm making my way back up the street. And all I hear is, clear out now. I turn around for a brief second. I saw that he had an AR gun. And I'm not thinking anything of it. I'm like, oh, he took out the gun so he can scare off the rest of the crowd that was around him. So I turn back around. I'm steady walking. And he yells it out again. Clear out now. Last time telling. And then I hear pop, 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 pop. And I was like, what the fuck? So mind you, I'm 200, 300 yards away from the incident. I'm near Publix. And then all of a sudden, streamers, content creators, they're running up. And then all of a sudden I start coughing. I'm like, did they just tear gas us? I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. But to be fair, the YNs, ONs, BNs, and Ns, they deserved it. But I caught a whiff of that, and I didn't deserve that because I was complying and doing what I needed to do. In my opinion, overall, some of the ATL Police Department, y'all were not protecting and serving us actively, meaning the day of the line. Once the barricades had broke, once people were fighting, y'all was not actively trying to take out the bad element. The only time when they were doing that is if somebody had brought it to their attention. They were spread out on the street, and they were spread out in front of the State Farm Convention Center. They were just huddled up there. And in my head, I'm thinking, I'm like, why are y'all not actively guiding the line? Why are y'all not actively making sure people are not hopping the barricade, making sure people are not getting pushed, trampled, things of that nature? They didn't care. They did not care. And arresting some of the bad actors that ultimately messed it up for everybody. They didn't care. So, and then, too, on top of that, by the time I made it to the front, bro, like, then that's when Kai posted. He was like, and that was 2 hours prior. So you would think, at least, if the event is over, the cops would have came around the area where people had broke the barricade. They would have came down and around to inform everybody, hey, the event is over. Y'all have to leave. Y'all have to leave. Y'all have to leave. They were not actively doing that. So me, myself, and others, we were still in line because they like, at that point, it was like some of the officers wanted us to get hurt. It was almost as if some of the officers wanted us to pass out, because it's just like, if I would have heard that from the police department, I would have immediately got out of line, which I did by the time I got to the front. And once I got to the front, I was right there at the door, y'all, by the door, or in the line that would have transitioned into the door. By the time I got back up to the front again, then that's when the announcement was officially made. Kai was like, sorry, y'all, the city shut it down. And basically, Kai was like, not in so many words, we tried. Which, I don't fault Kai for that at all. And I'm going to give credit where it's due. He did try. He found us a different location once the other venues and locations had pulled out. So kudos to him and his team for trying in that dynamic. Now, the meat and potatoes. Now, to give constructive criticism to Kai Cenat and or his team, or whoever his team is involved with Kai. Like I said in the beginning of this video, let me preface by saying thank you for giving us creators a direct or indirect way to connect with each other creators, to network, to collab, to create our own mini Streamer University before the Streamer University. That was genius. Even though it was chaos, that was genius. You know what I'm saying? You provided us an opportunity to meet each other while we're waiting on you. So, constructive criticisms for Kai Cenat and his team. If you were to ever do something like this again, Kai, I highly suggest, bro, like, do either a raffle or a ticketing system to where you make an app and you like kind of like what DreamCon does with their tickets or like any other anime convention. Have in your mind ahead of time, realistically, how many people that your team and you are willing to see. So like prime example, when I ran tournaments and events, we would cap out the tournament. It'll be like if we knew that we only wanted 64 people in the tournament, only 64 people was going to be in that tournament. No more, no less. If we wanted it to be 100 something people tournament, you see where this is going? So same idea, same logic in how my years of running tournaments, I would have had it to where whoever either shows up, but then again, doing it that way, like, so this is why I suggest doing an online ticket drop. So what what RDC World does with DreamCon and like a lot of these other conventions, when there's like big ticketed events, like prime example, last year at DreamCon, Megan the Stallion was there, and she was hosting her own little talk panel or whatever. That was a high ticketed, high coveted event. So what you're going to have to do, or what you could do in the future, if you still want to do these in-person auditions, do a ticket drop and make an app, do an online ticket drop. And once it drops at that time or that whatever, whoever gets those allocated tickets are the people who will for sure be the ones that'll be able to go in an audition. What this prevents a big, massive mob of a line. This will have the people that do have tickets to conduct themselves in an orderly fashion. So the idea is a ticket, and the people that got tickets, you get their information, you collect that data however you want to collect it, and then you only give the location to the people that got those tickets. And you have the people that do get tickets to sign an NDA, letting them know, hey, do not disclose the location of where this audition is going to take place at. And if they do, they'll be automatically disqualified from the audition. Boom. 2. Now, this is the biggest thing that pissed a lot of people off, and it pissed me off. Kai, I get that you needed to have and create content for your channel and for yourself, and rightfully so. I'm not hating on it at all. Everybody, all of us expected the bigger creators, the medium creators that are in your inner circle to be there. We expected that. But next time, if you have an in-person event like that, have them to go through a secret, dedicated door. So that way they don't come through the line, egoing people, thinking they're better than people, skipping people that have been there for hours. That was a bad look, bro. I'm not gonna lie. That was a bad look. That hurt a lot of people's chances of getting in and feelings, and it disrupted. Ultimately, the little bit of a line, some type of line that was a line, that really caused a disruption when all the celebrity guests and all the bigger streamers came through that line. Next time, call everybody up who are alumni and bigger creators that you think is going to be there. Have them to go through a specific door away from the public. So that would not happen again. Out of sight, out of mind. Okay? Out of sight, out of mind. And also, too, so they don't get overwhelmed and, because, you know, some of them have security, some of them don't. Prime example, like I said, Tota. Tota didn't have security, or at least from what I've seen. But just something to think about, bro, for if and when you do decide to do this again, if it does be in person, which I highly suggest don't, because as we can see, everybody ain't got home training. Everybody don't know how to conduct themselves. So even if you just kept it online, or if you do any the in-person events, cap it out. Like each city has a cap. So let's say New York City has a cap of 500 people. Atlanta has a cap of 500 people. LA has a cap of 500 people. And whoever do get those tickets, honor them. You know what I'm saying? Honor it. And the reason why I'm saying to honor it is because, bro, you are the king of 24/7 doing mafia-thons for 30 days. If you can do that on little to no sleep with overstimulation and a whole bunch of other shit going on, my boy, you can sit there and you can see the people that lined up to come to this event to make content and to help make content with you. That's all I'm saying. This is, like I said, I'm not hating. I'm not trying to spread negativity or nothing. This is just constructive criticism, bro. Like, if you know for a fact that you only have the capacity to see so many people, make it a limited event. Do a ticket raffle. Do a ticket drop in each of the cities or different cities. Like, if you decide to have it in these same cities again next year, if there is even a Streamer University 2027, if you do decide to do it again, bro, do it like that. I promise you it'll be less mess, less confusion. Now, security and staff. I don't know, whatever team that your team had hired to help guide the process of your event, Kai, get rid of them. Fire them, don't use them again. I know that you're pissed. I watched you during Mafiathon 3 and how you was getting on production. I can imagine how pissed off you were. So let me start off by saying that. So, anime conventions, right? When you are doing events like that at a convention, it might be better to hire an event staffing group so that way you have volunteers outside as well as police and the event staff that works for the convention itself. They are helping the flow of traffic. They're telling people, this is the line, single file line, go through this line. You have to get an event company, the right type of people, the right type of security, the right type of police that's going to be actively doing that. Because knowing now what you know now, and like I said, I'm giving you grace because it's the first time you're doing it in person. I get it. Everything don't run or go according to plan. I know that for a fact. Even if in a perfect world, you try to prepare the best way you can, something always seems to go wrong or happen. But at least doing it this way, I'm telling you, bro, I've worked conventions before. I've done this, bro. I've been doing this, bro. All you gotta do, hire the staff at the conventions. Make sure there's a good ample amount of police that's going to actively help and guide the line. At least have the police at certain points, because I believe if the police wasn't just bunched up in one location or out in the street, if you would have had the police on the inner and outer of the barricade, that prevents people from skipping and jumping over the barricade. Because guess what? If the police see it, they get arrested. Plain and simple. They would have been able to quickly identify the troublemakers and to quickly get their asses up out of there. How do I know this? It's because they do it all the time at any big major convention. So why, Kai, your event shouldn't be no different. This is an event that you invested your own money into, that you put out there. So with that, you need to have the best of everything to make sure your event is run smoothly. Period, point blank. Other constructive criticism. I think that was mainly the biggest things, was the bigger creators skipping the line, causing the disruption in the line, which made, and the reason why I said causing the disruption, I'm not saying causing disruption in a bad way, but it caused enough disruption to where, think about it, Kai. If you walk through a crowd of people that's lined up to see you, and then they see you in that crowd, what do you think is going to happen? Oh my God, it's Kai, it's Kai, it's Kai. They're all gonna rush you. So that's the reason why I said have the bigger creators or people that's in your inner circle go through a secret door, unbeknownst to the public. That was the better way to do it. Okay, like I said, those of us that are lucky enough to get in, we'll probably see them at a later date. But the goal for a lot of us was to get in, to pitch and shoot our shot to your team and or you once we pass through screening, if we even made it that far. Because what I was going to do after the fact, I'm like, all right, cool. I did first objective, side quests are done. Network, collaborated, made content with the people around me before the event even started. Boop, check mark. Now, let's get in line. Boop, I'm in line. Boop, getting guided. Boop. All right, cool. Oh, shit. I see such and such over there. You know what? That's not the focus right now. I see them on the inside. If I get to see them. Because I know sometimes at some events, like the celebrity guests or guest period that's a higher profile, they usually have them in a different secret room so they, don't get overwhelmed by the crowd, and rightfully so. They have a place where they can go hide and be amongst the people that's in the same network as them. I get it. But at the same token, yeah, next time just have them go through a different door and not come through the general public, because that shit was crazy. But overall, Kai, I would say get you a better event staffing team or hire an event staffing group that can take care of all of that stuff for you, and you ain't got to worry about that. Make sure that the police are at certain key points, and especially at the door where you know that you're going to have your celebrity higher profile guests come through. Make sure they're over there securing that. Make sure that they are actively guiding the line, actively doing it, not just standing there. Oh, that happened. Oh, that sucks for you. A waste of your money. Because I guarantee you, once you see all the footage from all the different angles from all of us content creators that was there at the ATL line, you're going to look like, if you did not hire the ATL police department, if you did hire them to do a job, they really did you dirty. If you legitimately hired them, if your staff had hired them to do a job, all they were worried about was making sure that the property wasn't destroyed, which I get, that's their jobs too. But also a part of that job is you're directing traffic. Now, the reason why I'm on some of the ATL police department's ass is because guess what? So once the event was called off and I'm just hanging over the barricade, I'm looking at the door, I'm like, damn, we were right there. And a bunch of niggas, you niggas, fucked everything up for yourselves and the people around you. Kai, the people that was fighting, the people that hopped in front of us, that skipped us, please deny them. Do not accept them into your Streamer University. They did not do it the right way. They were pushing on us women. They were trolling and rage baiting us, and not in a good way. Because there was a bunch of dudes that was there with their girls that was literally about to get into a fight. Because you had wannabe gangsters and people who wanted to antagonize and disrupt. Kai, please do not accept them into your Streamer U. And the vast majority of females that were that line, that group that got in before me, please let the mass majority of them into Streamer U. Let them in. Let them in. Let them in. Because we went through too much and so much. Other thing, I met people in line that came out from Russia. There was people from Russia in that line. There was people from the UK that came out. There was people from Japan that was there. And you niggas fucked it up for everybody. I'm not mad at Kai. Kai is still, y'all gotta understand, Kai is still young. He's still growing and learning. And obviously, if it's the first time of somebody doing something, everything's not going to go according to plan. It's how you planned it. That's why, Kai, I'm giving you constructive criticisms and I'm giving you ideas of how you can go about doing it next year if you do any more in-person auditions. At least doing it through the raffle way, the people that got tickets. You disclose the location only to the people that got tickets. And the people that do have tickets, your team or yourself, have to honor it. Think about ahead of time, realistically, in a day. Realistically, what do I have the mental capacity of people to see? Right? Think about that first, and then do your ticket drops. And then the people that are lucky enough to get the ticket, you disclose only the location to them. You have them to sign an NDA telling them not to disclose the location under any circumstances. And then bam. And then the people, obviously, so once your security is in place, once you have your staff in place, if they don't have that ticket or wristband or whatever it is to identify the people that should be getting in, the people that do show up that's not supposed to be there, even if they Scooby-Doo Nancy Drew it, they won't get in, period, because guess what? They don't have the wristband, they don't have the ticket, they don't have whatever, they don't have that. But anyway, y'all, this has been a video. The grind ain't gonna stop. We gonna still do what we do. I did fill out all 3 applications for Streamer University, but I think because I rushed my application, my online application, since I was 24 to 48 hours behind when Kai announced it, the in-person audition would have been perfect for me because I would have been able to really elaborate to his team or Kai himself, you know, why I deserve to be a Streamer U, what makes me different and stand out from the other different content creators. So because that didn't get to happen, I'm gonna have to make 2 more videos. Hopefully it don't be too late, but I wanted to come out real quick and make this video, put it out there, and you guys let me know down in the comment section down below. Like I said, there was thousands of peoples out there from all around the world with the chance of trying to get in to market themselves as to why they should be on Streamer U. Let me know what y'all think. Did I miss anything? Was my observations, my criticisms correct in your opinion? I think as an older adult, as an older content creator, I don't think I missed anything really. But hopefully, like I said, Kai, whatever team that was you hired, bro, fire them. Fire them. And yeah, but ATL, some of y'all ATL Police Department, fuck all of y'all. Oh, this is the other part I forgot to say. The reason why I'm so upset is because after I finally left, right? After I finally left, I went to the FIFA fan festival that was right down the street and around the corner from where the State Farm building was. This is a big ass park. Big ass park. Way less police. Way less police. And guess what they were doing? They were actively guiding the line. They were actively telling people not to smoke in the park. They were actively kicking people out if they were causing a disturbance. So, with that being said, Kai, if they were doing that for, you already know what I'm thinking, bro. If they were doing that for FIFA World Cup, FIFA Fan Festival Atlanta with way less police, and you had all the police there, and I'm telling you, bro, there was a lot of police, the ATL police, military was there, and I seen some niggas wearing FBI uniforms that were there. You had literally all 3 branches there. all 3 jurisdictions there that police people. And the simple fact that they didn't help guide the line or fix the barricade or fix the line itself and tell people single file, the simple fact that they did not do that, they wanted your event to fail. I'm just keeping real with you, young brother. You don't have to take my word for it. You can look at my clips and videos that I put throughout this video showing you what happened, as well as other content creators' point of views, the ones that weren't on no dumb shit. So that's why I said future reference, just do it at a convention center, hire convention staff and guests, and hire the right type of police that's actually going to police and do the right things, or private security. I think because of your status, though, I think you might need convention staff, you'll need regular police, and you'll need private security. I think for you, Kai, as high profile as you are, you'll probably need all three. I'm not even gonna lie, because that shit was ridiculous. But like I said, once again, thank you and your team for giving us the opportunity to come out to connect directly and indirectly, as well as us trying to audition and shoot our shot as to why we should be in Streamer U. Anyway, I know this has been a long video. Thank y'all for sticking it out. Thank y'all for continuing to support me and things that I do. I did do all 3 online applications, hoping and praying I get selected. If not, the grind don't stop, because we're going to be reacting to who gets chosen. And I think I'm going to make a bingo card of who I think is going to get chosen. But with that being said, Gaming Diva is out. I see y'all in the next video, as well as the next Twitch stream or YouTube stream. Much love. Peace.